We are just getting ready to share our live videos on Facebook. We're doing that right now. And then we're going to go live for our show. So I think that's the ad.
Do see the ad. There it is. I'm shared.
Austin's going to share me up here. All right. Happy Monday night, everybody. We are up and live for this Monday, April 22nd.
That is today.
That day has a significant meaning to me now, so we're going to have to talk about that later in our topics. So tonight we have quite a show for you. Unfortunately, no Miss Jenny. Jenny is headed back to Tisdale.
She is. We had so much fun with her, and it was really fun to have her on the show, too.
I think you all enjoyed having Jenny on the show. I finally am getting some sleep, though, without Jenny keeping me up, entertaining me all night, and Marley, waking me up early. It was a double whammy.
Definitely was, but we are caught up on our sleep, and we were actually making some really good, productive use of our time this past weekend, and we'll talk more about that later as well.
So just to keep you tuned in, I'm going to go over a couple of the topics we'll be talking about tonight. We are going to review the movie Shazam, which is the latest in the DC superhero movie franchise, making a blockbuster of itself. We are also going to be talking about...
Oh, egging your mother. That was definitely a little moment we had, so we're going to talk more about that later, too.
Yeah. If you see my live Facebook, I've just put up some videos very raw of me getting some facials and talking about that because I'm having some adult acne, and it's been a little stressful for me because I've never had breakouts regularly in my life. I've been blessed with that. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about taking care of your skin.
Wow.
So if you're on my Facebook, you can see I just uploaded some pretty terrifying videos. One of our other things that's coming up is...
we are going to be meeting Linda Carter this coming Thursday, so I'm sure Levi will have a lot to talk about with that.
Yeah, and for you who don't know who that is, that's Wonder Woman. We're also going to talk about the horrors of Easter in Sri Lanka. And we have one more important topic. Well, obviously, we're going to talk about our house cleaning because that's something that's to our heart, but the Notre Dame Cathedral burning.
Yes, and we found out a lot of very interesting information about that, and we are not excited, but we are wanting to share it with everyone.
Yeah, so this is, that happened April 15th. We're 7 days later, and so, yeah, I decided to, I was listening to the radio because I want to look for topics we're going to talk about, and someone had said that April 15th was a disastrous day in history. So I decided to Google that, and the rabbit hole... We're going to save some light topics after we talk about some of the things that have happened on April 15th.
All right. Well,
you haven't even heard them all. I think you're going to be freaked out.
I know. I'm very interested to hear it.
So first we're going to start with what we did this weekend. We're going to talk about egging my mom for Easter.
Yeah. Actually, before we get that, I do want to say... if you're watching us on our Facebook Live, you can also listen to us on www.jessfm.ca. You can also catch us out on our Facebook Lives, which are www.facebook.com/jessfm, and just click on the live video. You can also download our app, and you can watch us on Jess TV on YouTube. I have to say it every time.
You have to. We want our listeners to know where to find us. We love you tuning in. We love being here every Monday for you. People ask me about how do we get a radio show? How do they get a radio show? Well, for one, you got to be interesting. You got to have some topics.
I don't know how I got this job.
But one of the key things in a job like this is consistency. So you got to show up. You got to do your time. I know we've had technical difficulties, started late. We do travel a bit. But, if you're looking to, think you have an interesting voice or personality or point of view and you want a show on Jess FM, please contact us. But what I ask of you is consistency. Consistency to bring entertainment to our listeners.
And professionalism. Bring a script.
Well, we're not always professionals, but we're always here and we're always having a good time. And we just are so grateful for you tuning in Monday after Monday for over a year now.
Over a year. Happy 1 year anniversary.
Thank you.
You asked for it.
Yeah. Listeners, thank you. keeping us on air.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a girl asking about having a show, and I thought her topics were really good.
Yeah.
It's like energy healing and Reiki and just a different holistic approach I haven't seen on the station. So
Yeah, actually, we do have a couple kind of health geared and alternative health geared shows on Jess FM.
this one goes into the spiritual realm a bit. So
Cool.
I think we might have a new show coming up. So Ray, if you hear me, and you're watching. She's been watching our show, getting ideas. Okay, so let's talk about egging my mom. So my mom is one of these women, mothers, who loves to engage on Facebook. And she's not as bad as, like, you know, you're like, Mom, message me this in Messenger. It's on my wall. She's not that bad, but she is on there all the time. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Joanne.
And like, even if you like watch our show a lot or pay attention to the comments, she actually is our #1 fan of Jess FM. She was named the top fan by Facebook. I don't know how that happened.
But she got a diamond.
Yeah, she very much so engages with everyone, and she's got some really good input too. I've had her on the show a couple times.
She's been on the show as well.
Yeah.
And also...
Maybe it's time to have her back on. Talk to our #1 fan.
who wants to have Joanne back on? You asked for it.
Comment below.
Comment below. She comments a lot on Facebook, and we call them Joe Answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're familiar with interacting with my mom on Facebook, you may have got a Joe Answer
If
before.
there's something witty or maybe borderline snarky and it's one word or a short sentence, that's not an answer or a reply, it's a Joe answer.
Mhm.
That's something we coined. She thinks it's hilarious.
So I'm scrolling through Facebook. We're waiting for dinner to arrive at the new Shanghai. Actually, Shanghai Chop House, the real Shanghai on 3rd Ave next to Catwalk Salon Spa. We were having dinner there, and I just scroll by this thing, and it says, I'll egg my mom for 300 comments.
Yeah, if I get 300 comments on this, I'll egg my mom and video it. And I was like, tag your mom in that or share it or whatever. And you're like, no.
You-
I'm like, do it. And then you did it. You tagged her
But
in
then
it.
you were terrified.
I wasn't terrified.
We literally laughed through dinner as you all chimed in. In probably less than an hour, we had 370 comments to please egg Joanne live on video.
So we did.
I know, and I was like, I actually sweated. Like, my mom's like, so when are we egging me?
When she's like, when's the event happening? I'm like, no events today. We're just having the day off. She's like, exactly. When are you, or eggs, actually, when are you coming downstairs to do that? It's so funny.
Well-
she was excited, I think.
Right, because she loves all the Facebook interaction, all her friends chiming in that we should egg Joanne.
Also, you promised her a blowout, and she was excited about that, because it's not every day you get a Levi Cox blowout.
So one thing I'm very good at is washing hair, tooting my own horn, obviously, and round brushing naturally curly hair. So a blowout from me can last you a week. Ask my clients who travel. So I told my mom, because I was getting a little bit horrified by all the comments saying egg your mother, that I said I would include a wash and blow dry and a style. So I spent some time together in Easter.
And you also made a charitable donation to Lethbridge Pride Fest on top of it, so you really, got it going.
I just thought if I was going to engage that many people on Facebook, that it better be good for a charity or in a group. So, Lethbridge Pride Fest, I have $100 for you tomorrow at our Pride meeting.
Yeah, so let's get down to it.
Well, my mom was Googling son charged with egging mother from Facebook challenge, and how can I be injured if Levi eggs me? And she's really stressed out about it. But instead of chucking eggs at her, I was breaking them into a cup and dumping them onto her head from the balcony. We put her in a cape to protect her clothes, but it didn't work. And you're dropping eggs on her head, and she thought it was over. She pulled out this mask, a clear mask to hide her face. So she thought it was over, and the last egg dropped, boom, right on the face, money shot, and down her hair, and it was
She slow
hilarious.
motion videoed it after, and it was so funny. She is commenting right now from the Solana iPad, so it's showing up as Levi Cox.
Okay, it's me.
Commenting, but that is Joanne. We also have a message from Chef Stella, who says, hey boys, always great to watch you.
Hey, Chef.
She loves the topics, and the egging, by the way, was amazing.
Oh,
she says.
Chef Stella is right below where we record our show. Chef Stella also provides all the food at Catwalk. Other than the Max and Custard, The other really important thing about Chef Stella is she's a supporter of the downtown, our community, and makes the most amazing sausage on the buffet.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
that's
sausage.
spicy Italian sausage. You love that.
It's like decased and has peppers in it, and then next to it is a heap of bacon that is like the second best heap of bacon I've ever seen.
What's the first best heap of bacon, Levi? Do tell us.
I had my favorite heaping pile of bacon in Mexico, and I would go back to that thing again and again.
Oh my gosh.
But they said but I just read an article, if you eat bacon once a day, you're more likely to get cancer.
Oh, really? I wonder
Luck-
what it is.
Luckily, I only eat it on Sundays at Chef Stella's buffet brunch. Anyway, thanks, Chef. Yeah, we have some interesting topics, so we're going to get right into it. So here we go. Egging your mother. You know, I thought one egg is not considered an egging, and since there was such a big response, it had to be at least 3. I would have rather done 6.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just dumped them all on there.
Well, one at a time. It was like plop, plop, plop. And then when I'm washing my mom's hair, if you've seen the video, she goes, "Don't use hot water. You're going to cook the eggs."
Yeah. Truth, though. Nobody else would have thought of that.
Yeah, it was smart.
But little Joe answer did.
So we actually got a large crowd in the salon. Everyone stopped what they were doing to watch this egg fun.
Well, it's not every day you gotta get to, like, dump eggs all over, like, your mom or for them, their manager. Or it's fun. She was such a great sport about it, too. It was really, really funny.
It was such a bizarre thing.
Yeah. All down her clothes. It was a good time.
So anyway, thanks for watching that. We'll make it a yearly tradition.
Happy Easter. Well, you know what? Speaking of Easter traditions, though, one thing that we always did, even like way before me, like probably 15 years at least, was every year you get all the kids together from the salon and all the salon extended family and everything. And we would do like an egg decorating party. And then on Easter Sunday, we always get together and we throw the eggs off of the coulee. And then we'd go down and get them, and whichever ones didn't crack, we'd like bring them up and throw them again.
It's something my family did our whole lives down at Devil's Gulch before they found dinosaur eggs down there.
Oh.
And someone told me later on that it was to symbolize the boulder rolling away and Jesus being resurrected.
Oh, had no idea.
My parents said we just went and rolled eggs. They didn't know that.
So that's something that we've always done, though, and I've participated in like 3 times now.
Yeah.
But we haven't done it. We didn't do it last year.
Yeah.
For the first time ever, and I think there was like some sad tears about it, but we didn't do it this year. But instead of throwing eggs off the coulee, we threw them off the balcony at your mom.
So it's like, you know, usually
New tradition, egging Joanne.
we usually got the adults together for a big Easter egg dime party, and we would actually make things like, I would always do an epic one like Eggy Gaga, Egg Donna, Jen Egg Jackson.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You're very clever and witty, sir.
Well, we'd have like a drinking adult dime party, so I'll have to bring that back next year because we missed it.
Next year.
What did you do for this Easter weekend?
Chime in and let us know.
We will jump back if you make a comment or some interesting facts you did this weekend. But other than that, we're going to move ahead with our topics. Should we go to the fun ones?
Yeah, let's do some.
We're going to do fun ones because this episode's going to get a bit dark, and Austin doesn't realize quite how dark yet, and I don't think our listeners do, because we're going to talk about April 15th, the day Notre Dame burned. But something we love and uplifts us, we went to see Shazam.
Shazam.
So-
I, going into it, actually had no idea about any of the backstory. I'd never like read the comics or anything. It's a character that I wasn't really familiar with, but like Shazam and Mary Marvel or like original Captain Marvel have been around since
Like the 30s,
30s,
1930s.
like early 30s, 32, something like that. Shazam's original name was Captain Marvel, I found out. And then Marvel Comics did a kind of like cease and desist eventually when they became like...
In the 60s, Marvel Comics was like, DC, you can't have a character Captain Marvel. I don't know if the patent run out or they didn't patent it, but
Yeah, so they did have to change his name to Shazam.
But also interesting, Captain Marvel became a Marvel character, and then it became Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, but then Captain Marvel just had a movie as well. So interesting that kind of has a synergy at the same time, that they've come forward.
And yeah, so Captain Marvel and Shazam
Shazam.
have both come out within months of each other.
After never having movies before.
Ever. And
Yeah.
they were both originally Captain Marvel.
Yeah, interesting.
That's very, very interesting. But Miss Marvel was Captain Marvel before. She was Captain Marvel.
She was Miss Marvel, but then it wasn't as politically correct, so now she's Captain Marvel. And there was a male named Captain Marvel, but he's gone.
The tale of two Captain Marvels. Now you know. But anyway,
I hope you could keep up with that.
Yeah, has been around since the 30s. I didn't really know anything about it though going into it, and I was pleasantly surprised with the storyline. It was very cool.
Well, for one, that very handsome man, Zachary Levi.
Who is Canadian?
There we go. He's got some odd eyebrows, but he was hilarious, heroic, and funny.
And he's from Manitoba. God bless.
Oh, I didn't know he's from Manitoba.
Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong. I just listened to Spencer.
Well, Captain Sparklefingers in the movie.
Yeah.
We don't want to ruin the movie for you because I really recommend you go see it. It is a certified hit, making over $333 million for DC movies. So, way to go with another hit.
I will say it's really like kid friendly. There are some like scary parts, but I would say probably like 8 and up is my recommended audience for that. It might be a little too scary for like under 8.
Yeah, it's shocking. It carries the same tone as a lot of the DC superhero movies, but they're adding a lot more humor, which Marvel and Disney have done a great job of. So they added a little more humor in this one. But when it was scary, it was scary.
Yeah, and like the humor is not that raunchy either, but there is definitely some adult humor in it.
So if you're taking your children, the 7 deadly sins are in it. And like one person said, lust was not as hot as we thought they might be.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I really did like the movie a lot. I would watch it again. This is actually your second time watching it too.
Right, but this was our first time.
Our first time. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think it will definitely go on to at least a trilogy.
Yeah, you will be very pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's fast, it's cute, it's hilarious, and it's definitely one to watch. It's going to be one of those slow burner hits.
Yeah.
It's like not as raunchy or sarcastic as like Deadpool, but definitely has a nice vein of humor throughout it.
Yeah, and like in true DC style, it does set it up at the end for a sequel, which is nice. So stay after those credits and watch it.
And we might have got a super cameo.
Whoop, whoop.
There, go check it out.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
give it 2 thumbs up, maybe 4. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get into a topic of Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yes,
Somewhere we visited 3 years ago.
we did.
Almost to the
like, it was in April as
Mhm.
well. I think like April 20th. So
We did springtime in Paris. We went to April in Paris, and that was our first big holiday together. And
yeah, and that kind of like kicked off like a big Euro trip that we did.
yeah.
So we were gone for like almost a month, but we started in Paris, and it was my first time to Europe ever.
Mhm.
I really liked it.
We went to a
Notre
Style
Dame was
Masters
really
hair
cool.
show. So went to a huge hair show in Paris, and then from that, it's like the Olympics for hair. And when we were done that, we went to London, met Jenny and Marley,
Hmm.
and then do you remember where we went?
We went to Amsterdam. Amsterdam.
And who did we meet there?
Arturo.
Arturo.
Yeah. And then we went to Istanbul.
We went to Istanbul, and who we meet?
Your cousin, Tuğçe.
Tuchki?
Tuğçe.
Tuche.
Not Tuğçe.
So then we hung out with some of my family in Turkey, Istanbul. So that's a pretty big trip for your first time to Europe.
That was really, really fun. But we did start it all off in Paris. And one of our last days there, we had to hit Notre Dame.
No,
So,
it was actually the first. It was a walking tour before the hair show.
and
that
we
guy
went
yelled
there
at me.
again, though, because we wanted to go to the Lock Bridge.
That's
And
right.
that was
That's
towards
right.
the end.
Right.
That wasn't on our walking tour.
We did go twice, but on the walking tour, this guy yelled at me because he said me and Austin were having too much fun.
Cute. He was Canadian, too. I was like, thought y'all are supposed to be friendly.
But there was like, we are going to the Notre Dame Cathedral. I never saw that Quasimodo sculpture until that time.
Yeah, well, we did walk around it. Oh, yeah, we did do that on the walking tour.
Mhm.
Well, I'm confused.
One of the main reasons, I've been to Paris 5 times, and one of the reasons I love Notre Dame Cathedral so much is it's beautiful, it's Gothic. When I was 18, it was one of the first historic sites I recognized, other than, of course, the iconic Eiffel Tower, which is just my very favorite.
And you can see it from almost anywhere in Paris.
Almost any window. But the very interesting thing about Notre Dame Cathedral is what's behind it. Le Maurice.
Le Marais.
Le Marais. Le Marais is not only the shopping district, it is also the gay
It's
district.
the romantic zone.
In the romantic zone. So guess where we spend a lot of our time when we go to Paris?
Le Marais.
The romantic zone. And so when you've been out late at night and you're walking past, you walk past Notre Dame. So it's just a very iconic stroll and walk. The Lovers Bridge is there, where we went and put a lock on their names.
And I'm sure it's cut off already because they've really cracked down on that in the last couple of years.
There's thousands of them.
Yes, but it actually, the lock bridge collapsed right before we went. And they rebuilt the bridge. It was actually still under construction, remember?
So if anyone knows what a Lovers Lock Bridge is, we thought there was only one. We Googled it. There was many, but we did the Paris one, and we wrote a lock with our names on it, and then we locked it on the bridge, and then threw it into the water, which is probably not the best
Threw the
thing.
key in the water.
Yeah.
But since then, they've actually drained the canals and cleaned them out too. So I'm sure our remnants of our romantic time are completely gone. But our memories will forever be.
Yeah, there was like thousands of locks on there. It doesn't actually look like healthy.
No.
Imagine if it's like when
Well, it collapsed the bridge.
it collapsed the bridge. And I was going to say, it's almost like if pigeons decide it's your home, they start pooping everywhere. If lovers decide that putting a lock on your bridge is a good idea, they'll put so many locks on your bridge can collapse.
Yeah, shitting all over your architecture with their love.
Okay, so here comes the topic. Notre Dame, it was a horrible thing.
April 15th.
Last Monday, we were with Jenny, and we looked on the news and we watched in horror as we all did globally as Notre Dame burnt. And it's just so sad to see like such an icon burning. Incredible memes came out afterwards, which are some are hilarious, but it was ultimately just really sad. I mean, we had to go home and watch Hunchback of Notre Dame just to see the beautiful building as he flings around there. They did save the bell tower. Quasimodo did not live there
No.
or exist, but it did take place there. What do you want to say?
Just an interesting thing I learned is the inside of Notre Dame they called the forest because it literally took a whole forest to build. All the turrets and big pillars and stuff inside, they're all big timber pillars, and it took a whole forest to do that. So I learned a whole forest burnt down.
Well, and they're actually saying there's not enough trees in Paris to reburn it or build it, which is interesting. And the funny thing is, like, the front facade you see of the church is actually a small part of it, but it's kind of that iconic setting you see. And then behind is the huge church. And touring through it is amazing. And I just don't understand how you were going to be able to replicate that unless someone scanned it and is going to 3D print it.
I'm sure there are multiple documentations of it. It's very interesting. But people have donated a lot to rebuilding it. It is a national treasure for France, and a lot of people have come together. Some billionaires have donated mass lump sums.
Billionaire donated like 113 million. France president says we will rebuild. They said it'll take 6 years. I don't know how they know that. Apple says they're going to help rebuild it, and this is going to happen. What do you out there think? Do you rebuild something historic, or do you let it go? Do you let it burn down? Do you let it die? It's not going to be the same thing. So now it's a replicant, it's a fake, it's a clone.
Well, I feel like the shell is still there, and a lot of the bones are still there, but it definitely needs help. I don't know if it's completely decimated on the inside.
Well, things are getting old on Earth, and what happens if one day the Statue of Liberty falls or the Eiffel Tower falls? Do you continually rebuild it, or do you let it go?
Well,
The
let's
Great Wall of
just
China.
say it's a big cash cow for France.
True.
All the tourism and things that happen with that, it would be like if our bridge in Lethbridge burnt down.
True.
It's something that people come to see. It's something that, you know what I mean?
What if they kept the front facade and made the inside a museum so you could cash cow on all those tourists?
Well, it is a museum, though.
I know, but do people still go to mass there?
I believe so, but it's not the same. And I think it's actually not owned by the church anymore. I think it's owned by France Tourism or something. I would rebuild it. honestly, like I wouldn't let it just go to waste because it is such a money grab.
If you go to Paris, you'll actually find that everything is really close in walking distance. Arc de Triomphe, the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. They actually have their very own Statue of Liberty, in case you didn't know that.
That was gifted to them by America because the Statue of Liberty was a gift to the United States from France.
Interesting.
Yes, I know.
She's a
all
French
random
lady?
shit. She's the French lady. Original.
So, I was on the radio, and I heard... Okay, actually, that's a lie. That was not on the radio. I was getting a facial done, which I'm feeling very bare today. I'm very pale. I have no spray tan. It's bugging me, but you can all see my rawness on Facebook, and I'll reveal the results from my beautiful facial treatments from Melissa in a week. So Melissa was doing my facial, and she said to me, Notre Dame Cathedral happened on April 15th. A lot of really bad stuff happened on April 15th. And I thought to myself, oh, really? Like what? She named a couple, and I was like, that's horrific. So I went online, and I Googled for our listeners tonight. You asked for it, Melissa. We're going to go through some of the most awful things that happened on April 15th, and then we're going to weigh in to see if the Notre Dame Cathedral fire, where it ranks.
Okay, well, here we go, Morbid Mary.
Well, I've never done this before.
Let's do
I'd
it.
never Googled historical things on a date. So, we're going to try this. Oh my gosh, it's a lot.
Before we go that,
Yeah, do we have a comment?
I just want to say Alan Johnson said, rebuild it. It won't be the same, but it can be beautiful still. Things are always change anyway, and maybe it can be even better and stronger.
Thank you, Alan, and I agree. Like maybe there's some new things or key things they can add to it to brighten it up. Well, I
Like
guess
steel.
it's Gothic. Flame repellent wood.
Yeah.
No, I think rebuild it too ultimately. So this just felt like a really sad moment for the world as we watched this building burn, and now we're going to go on to the top awful things that happened April 15th.
All right, let's do it.
Are you ready? You want to read the first one?
I'm not ready.
It's
You
easy.
do it.
Look, it's easy.
I'm so sorry I can't read your writing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go. April 15th, 1865. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln dies from a gunshot from John Wilkes Booth? James Wilkes Booth?
John Wilkes Booth? I don't know.
Well, Abraham Lincoln, one of the most famous presidents in the history of the United States and the world, was actually died on April 15th.
He was assassinated.
Yeah.
Like so many American presidents.
So that's
I think two or
pretty.
three.
That's a pretty awful thing to happen that day. I bet there's a lot of people who, well, they don't live now, remember it. But 1865 kicks off our top worst things of April 2002.
April 15th.
Okay, ready? You want to do one?
All right. 1912, Titanic, the unsinkable ship, sinks after hitting an iceberg. 2,200 people aboard. 1,500 died. So that was also April 15th. That's actually crazy.
I know.
April
This.
15th. Now I'm looking at like how many pages of notes you have here. We're gonna be here a while.
So this is pretty crazy. So now Notre Dame burns, Abraham Lincoln dies,
Mhm.
and now the unsinkable Titanic sinks.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Did when I was reading about the Titanic, 'cause it's like a wormhole doing these kind of projects, I think it went down just off Nova Scotia or Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
So I didn't realize it happened that close to Newfoundland.
Yeah. Being like from Newfoundlander lineage.
Yeah.
That is something my parents like told me. I don't know why I knew it. It just was always there. There is a Titanic museum in St. John's, Newfoundland, I believe.
So like it just sat there just off the coast of Newfoundland for all those years.
It's not like just off the coast, but it's the closest landmass to it is Newfoundland.
It's still such a shocking story that all these people got like dressed up beautifully. They were packed with all their. It was like all the best. It was like the elite. It was like, and it was like a big news story.
It was like a month-long cruise.
But for it to crash and have 1,500 of the people die,
Over half of the
only 700 people lived.
over half of the passengers. Gone.
April 15th.
Well, what else is there?
You want to do this one? You can do this one.
In 1927, the USA Great Mississippi Flood happened. There was 15 inches of rain in 18 hours, and a 2,700 square mile flood.
10 states.
10 states wide.
Affected. Yeah.
That is crazy. So it flooded 10 states.
Yes, so 1927, the biggest flood in America's history. Over 10 states were flooded. 27,000 miles. Square miles.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I didn't actually get a death toll on that one, but April 15th was a really shitty day in America. How do you feel about that? Had you ever heard of the Mississippi floods?
I have.
Yeah. All right, 1937, April 15th, the Spanish Civil War. Countries from around the globe begged them for peace because the Spanish Civil War had a lot of bloodshed. Again, I did not get an exact number, but that means people fighting within their own country against each other.
15th again.
Yeah.
So, it makes me think, is this just April 15th, or is it, a coincidence and shitty things happen on, every single day, or, what is this?
Well, we'll talk about that at the end of this, because after this research, I had figured out some interesting things. So, yeah, Spanish Civil War. Countries all around the world, they please stop the bloodshed. They were killing each other. Oh, my gosh. This is a really heavy one. You can do it.
The next one for April 15th is the German Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, where they found thousands of dead bodies, thousands and thousands more sick and starving. And then they discovered another 30,000 bodies. I don't know what that says. Discovered?
Yeah.
So
1945, on April 15th, we'd heard
the
that
British troops liberated the German Bergen-Belsen.
So people understood that there was something really going wrong with the German war and the Jews, and they didn't really know because they were really good at hiding their media. They were controlling and manipulating the media. So when Britain finally went in and busted down this huge concentration camp, they were just horrified because they didn't realize how bad it was.
I can't believe that number, though. That's not 3,000. That's 30,000.
Yeah, so when they walked in, there was thousands and thousands, is how they described it, of dead bodies and rotting bodies. And then there was thousands upon thousands of more people starving to death and sick with illness. And one of the main reasons, they were in crowded areas, but there was no water to this camp. So they were actually not only starving them, but they were actually dehydrating them. There were many people ill who died after. And then shortly after they discovered this horror, they walked into and realized how awful this, what is it, not genocide.
That's genocide.
Genocide was going, but then they discovered another 30,000 bodies at the same camp.
And that,
right after.
I don't really want to go down this hole, but that's just one concentration camp. There was many.
Yeah, that was Bergen-Belsen. And but it was the first day, April 15th, that the world realized really the horror that they were going through.
Wow, there's still more pages. Let's keep going and get rid of this because I actually am so flustered by this. I don't want to talk about it
It's
anymore.
Actually really sad. Okay, so now we're going to go on to 1946, April 15th. 30 million starving in China. 30 million people on the verge of death from starvation. Countries from around the world step in, send food, including the USA and the United Nations Relief. So there was this epidemic happening in China where people were just literally had no food. And there was 30 million on the verge of death. And the world stepped in and fed them on April 15th. 1946, again, awakening our eyes that, and both these stories are on starving people. It's really gross. When we're always trying to be on a diet. I mean, serious. We're such a wasteful place.
North America is definitely.
How do you feel about that one?
I'm numb. I don't actually. enjoy this at all.
Well, this is a different episode of You Asked For It, but I just thought when I heard that a lot of bad things happened on April 15th, I thought I better do the research.
And you did.
Are you getting some comments
No
there?
comments, but I'll
Okay.
keep going. On 1977, Roman Polanski, the famous director, I can really not read your writing,
Rosemary's Baby
of Rosemary's Baby was
and Chinatown.
and Chinatown, charged with drugging and raping
A 13-year-old actress.
a 13-year-old actress.
So Roman Polanski is one of like the most celebrated directors. And what happened, he made Rosemary's Baby, he made Chinatown, countless movies, and he was like winning all these awards. And then he drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl and stood trial today on April 15th. He was charged.
1977.
1977.
I feel like I'm held hostage right now to this like awful news story.
Well, this one is very interesting and very of the time because Roman Polanski, I'm very well scripted in him because I did like some of his movies, but I think he's a disgusting freak. After being charged with drugging and raping this 13-year-old actress, he fled America to avoid persecution. I believe he's in Paris. So he ran away, but now he's actually suing the Oscars and the Directors Guild to be let back in. But if he steps foot in America, he can be charged.
That was like 42 years ago.
Mm-hmm. April 15th. You ready for more?
No. Oh my gosh.
All right. I couldn't believe the horror I discovered on April 15th. Here we go. And now it's not feeling so bad about a building burning.
Well, I just want to like say this last one was the year you were born, and then this one is the year I was born. Coincidentally.
Oh, that is interesting. But we were not born on April 15th, so we are good things.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, England, Hildenborough Stadium disaster. This was a huge semifinal game. 200 people, 900 crushed to death by fans.
In Hillsborough, wasn't it?
Yeah, so death was... they overcrowded the stadium, and people just kept pushing in, and people were actually crushed by the Liverpool fans to death. Most of these children and teenagers, and no charges were ever laid against any of the Liverpool fans, and these people were literally just pushed against fence and squished. 200 of them. 96 dead, kids and children, no charges laid. When I thought about this disaster, I assumed that the stadium crashed and crushed people, but no, people crushed people.
Well, you've been to London though, and you like have been on the tube during rush hour, and they're like pushing you into the train. I can imagine that. I can't justify it. I have no idea what to even say
At night-
about that. I'm mortified.
In 1989, to crush 96 people to
That's
death.
disgusting. I like don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, don't worry, we're almost over, okay, with this topic. Oh my goodness, here's another doozy. 2013, April 15th, the United States Boston Marathon bombing.
That is another big one.
Isn't that crazy?
April 15th. Like, I feel like Titanic and this one and Notre Dame are like the big ones.
Hello.
There's a
Cause
lot of big ones.
the Mississippi
but I'm just
flood.
saying, like, that's crazy.
Hang on, we got the concentration
Let's not
camps,
rehash.
and
Let's
we
keep
got
going and plugging forward. I
Abraham-
don't want to talk about this. anymore.
Abraham Lincoln's death.
Oh my god.
From a assassination. Okay, 2013, April 15th, United States Boston Marathon bombing. 2 pressure cooker bombs were put at the end of the run, killing 3 people and injuring 264 people. The clouds, the smoke, the crowds, the popularity of this event, it just shocked America and rocked the world because we saw these images coming out of, it was very awful.
You can read the next one too.
Oh my gosh. So the Boston Marathon bombing was also April 15th. So a lot of people were hanging their heads sad about Notre Dame. If they remember that date, they remember some other ones. Are you ready for another one?
Yeah.
You asked for it.
Let's go.
Okay, here is another horrific thing that happened on April 15th.
This is the last one, right?
Yes, the last one,
Thank
okay?
God, I cannot wait to move on from this disgusting segment.
It is disgusting, but I couldn't help it. That news host got me.
Well, it's bad. I hate this.
April 15th, 2014, 200 Nigerian schoolgirls were taken from their school by Boko Haram Islamists military. Only 50 girls escaped this attack. Nothing is known about the other 150 girls who were taken into the forest by this military group.
So the Boko Haram Islamist military took a bunch of people.
No, they went to a girls' school. They shot down the teachers and took all 200 girl students.
And just nobody knows what happened to them.
They took them deep into the forest with their army. But I remember watching that on the news, being so horrified. And only 50 girls escaped. And we don't know, like, they could still be slaves. That was only 2014. So, that is some dark shiz that happened on April 15th. How do you feel?
Dead inside. Like, I feel like I'm literally checked out of my life at this moment. That was so disgusting. I've, like, could rant, but I'll just look stupid. I'm like, why did we just talk about that on the internet? Ugh. That was awful.
Okay.
Don't do that to me again.
Okay. Well, I've never researched what has happened on a date before. But when I was told a lot of bad things, if you just heard that in bullet point, you'd be horrified.
I am horrified.
So now you had a question for me at home, and I said, ask me on air. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, like, why this date? Is it every other date, and this is just what happened specifically on this date, and the world is a shitty place? Or is that date have more things that's happened on it than any other date?
As I sat in bed, not sleeping, but just in the bed with this notebook to write our show for tonight, I accidentally, in Levi style, thought April 14th was the day Notre Dame Cathedral burnt down. So I researched things that happened on April 14th. And guess what? It was disgusting. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Julius Caesar was murdered. Rome was taken over.
So it's any date. That's just the creepy things that happen on this date.
Hang on. Abraham Lincoln was shot. He died the following day. But I went on to atrocity after atrocity. A very interesting one happened in the 60s where a light flare went off on the moon in a crater.
Well, that sounds less lethal. Adam J. Bobanek says, I agree, it is so disgusting here, all this so very sad.
I'm sorry. I literally just Googled the top 10 worst things that happened on April 15th because I was shocked by a couple of them. Boston Marathon, Abraham's death, So,
Well, welcome to the worst episode of US Forever, everyone.
well, this episode did not happen on April 15th. We had Jenny here on April 15th, and we know that was a highlight of our series. So it is not one of the worst things that happened on April 15th.
Thank God.
So we're going to go back to a lighter topic.
Oh my gosh. Build me up.
Build
I'm
you
dead
up.
inside.
It just made me think about the world and just how bad things really are and how bad things really can be and how important it is to be kind to each other because we just had a big election last week and it was
Alberta.
Alberta and it was very polarizing and we saw a lot of different topics and hate come out and I just think, we just really got to support each other because there is a lot of crap that happens all the time around the earth and we just got to remember to be nice to each other and be good and have fun. Live in the moment.
Yes. Speaking of living in the moment, this Thursday, let's talk about what's happening this coming Thursday. It's something very exciting that's happening.
Okay, so any people who know me, Levi Cox, I'm a toy collector with Toy Friends. I display my action figures in my beautiful salon, Catwalk Salon Spa. I also dress in cosplay as some superheroes, but there is one superhero who outranks them all, who has influenced my life. It's part of my childhood biography. That is Wonder Woman.
That is Wonder Woman. She is very involved in our home decor.
She's in our every room has Wonder Woman in it.
It's a lot.
Sometimes
but it's beautiful.
in the shower, sometimes on the couch, sometimes on the bedding. But Wonder Woman is in our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And this Thursday, we are not going to miss a very special moment. We are going to meet Linda Carter.
So this week is the Calgary Comic Con and Entertainment Expo in Calgary, and Linda Carter is going to be there. So she's doing a special concert at Stampede Grounds. I can't remember which building, but we are going to get to watch a 1 hour long concert.
It looks
with
like
Linda Carter, and we get VIP.
it looks like we're like interviewing her. That's what it would look like when we meet her on Thursday.
Well, we'll have to recreate this
Here,
photo with
here,
her.
take a selfie.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so anyway, we are going to go to Linda Carter. She's become a singer. She's going to do a show called This Is My Life.
She has like 5 albums, doesn't she?
Yeah. She actually went on to become a singer. She was also Miss America or Miss Universe.
Miss Universe, I believe.
But she played Wonder Woman to a T. Not only was the costume beautiful,
Well, there wasn't actually even any real reference before that. There was like a short pilot that kind of like flopped or whatever, and then she became Wonder Woman because after the comic book, she was the first like mainstream like television presence of her, and she brought Wonder Woman to everyone's homes.
yeah, and she was a huge switch up and change up on TV and in media to show strong female characters and leaders. So people gravitated to her. Young girls and boys around the world were spinning, trying to turn into Wonder Woman. They were wanting to fly their invisible jet.
And blocking off their bullies with that like double wrist cross.
And also flying off to Paradise Island and winning the hearts of everyone without being violent.
That's true.
Yeah. This started a whole wave of female empowerment on TV. Not that it wasn't there before, but I'm only talking in pop culture. But we had amazing shows like Charlie's Angels, The Bionic Woman.
Well, it's totally like the feminism movement,
And Wonder
which is,
Woman.
I think, why she got the opportunity to be on television and why the Wonder Woman story like was brought to the mainstream because of this feminist movement.
It resonated so strongly to have strong female role models because for so many shows that were going on, Batman and Robin, Batgirl was just a supporting character. There was another big show, oh my gosh, they're called The Avengers, but it was Emma Peel and I can't remember the other guy. But she was the kind of the sex object, or she was the lusty one. And James Bond was doing all these movies, but it was always like the girls were Honey Rider and weird sexy names. So there wasn't really like, the very interesting thing is in 1977 when Wonder Woman came out and when I was born and when Star Wars was released. And my second favorite person is Carrie Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
And she was also, even though she was a princess, watch the movies. She never misses. Watch Carrie Fisher shoot. She is like a deadeye. Maybe she was using the Force back then, but she was protecting her planet, standing up to Darth Vader, and another kick-ass empowered female. So it's kind of like a movement of girl power.
Mm-hmm. One thing I found interesting is the author of Wonder Woman, the creator, was also the creator of the lie detector.
Yes, and her lasso is a lie detector.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of like proverbially did it, and physically. So he like literally created the real life lie detector test that is used today.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That was the author of Wonder Woman, the creator of her.
Can I tell an interesting story about Carrie Fisher?
Sure.
So, 5 or 6 years ago, Carrie Fisher was coming to the Entertainment Expo. And so I got my packaged 1977 Princess Leia action figure ready to go, pre-bought my ticket. I'm going to meet Carrie Fisher. I'm so excited because there's only 2 people in my life who I've loved this much who are not my parents or my sibling. And it is Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, and Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. Literally brought upon this earth the same time as me. I got a free trip to Madrid. I flew to Madrid, and 6 hours off that plane, Boom. I broke my tibia and fibia. And all I kept thinking while I was in that psych ward was, why?
Psych ward.
It was a psych ward.
You were in the psych ward.
Well,
for breaking your leg.
Well, they didn't know my leg was broken. He was taking off my boot, and I was trying to tell the guy there was a zipper to take off my boot. Both bones in my lower leg were broken. He's unlacing my boot. I'm like, there's a zipper. There's a zipper. He didn't speak English. He spoke Spanish. And he's undoing it, and I'm screaming, so I finally punch him. But when I punched him, I pulled out my IV, and I sprayed blood across his face.
So they put you in the psych ward.
So,
oh my gosh, what is this episode?
so anyway, as I was in the psych ward
Mortified.
awaiting surgery, I thought I shouldn't have come to Madrid on a free trip with Revlon Professional. I should have went to
See Carrie Fisher.
see Carrie Fisher. So the rest is history because Carrie Fisher tragically passed last January, and they will never
Was
get.
that only 1 year ago? That was more, like 2 years ago.
Well, not this past January, January before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it feels like forever and yesterday.
So I never got to meet Carrie Fisher, and so nothing is standing in my way of meeting my main lady.
Linda Carter. For those of you who can't see our Facebook Live.
So not only will she sing to us, but then afterwards we get to have a preferred seating, and then we get to meet her and have a photograph with her.
That's so cool.
So next week I will definitely on air. I know if you're listening you can't see it, but I will show off our little picture of us with Linda Carter. Sound good?
Sounds amazing.
Do you want our last topic?
What is it?
Lethbridge Pride Fest is coming up, and it's April 14th to 22nd. We'll be having a full listing on our Facebook page and our Instagram of all our events, performers, and things you can do this 11th Pride in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Excellent. So that's coming up. Do you know what else is coming up this coming week?
What's coming up?
Lethbridge Fashion Week is happening on Friday, which is the 26th,
Yeah.
coming up. And then, so that's really fun. We're get to do all the hair and makeup for it.
Well, and we had one of the talented models here on our show a couple weeks ago. So this Friday night, if you need something to do, which you all do because you need to get out and have some fun, head on down to the Gauntlet Museum and watch Lethbridge Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Tickets available at Joy's Dancewear?
Yeah. Classic dancewear.
Classic Dancewear. Sorry.
So that's happening on the Friday, but then the Saturday is the college fashion show, which yours truly is modeling in.
That's what, Saturday?
That's this coming Saturday.
Oh, Salem is modeling at the college this
Yes.
Saturday. But also, I thought you were going to say Vanity Lashes event.
Well, it's actually called the Amethyst Project, something hour, and Vanity Lashes is organizing it.
Okay. Well, then you can also go to the Amethyst Project at Hudson's this Saturday night. You get a poutine, a drink. Tickets are like $10.
I'm not sure, but there's a poutine bar.
I think you get a free poutine and a drink. It's $10 or $20.
And I'll
the
be
money
there in
goes to charity.
drag,
And you'll be
provided
there.
I like my face and don't go home and change it, because they're not letting me do my own makeup, and I'm freaking out about it.
Do your face as a base face and then let them add to it.
I think that would be a good plan.
So you have lots to do this weekend in Lethbridge, so don't miss out. When is the Gaga tribute?
It's coming up pretty soon as well. It might be this weekend. So we have the lovely Joanne Finch chiming in saying it's called the You Are Not Alone event.
You are not alone, not the Amethyst
Put on
Project.
and with Amethyst Project and Vanity Lashes putting it together.
Okay,
So
that's at
it's kind of like
Hudson's.
in support for Amethyst Project.
I know Catwalk has tickets, and we will be there, and Salem will be there.
Mhm. And she's also commented 20. I'm not sure what that means, but
Oh, tickets are $20.
tickets are $20.
But you get
There
a drink and a poutine.
Drink, poutine, help out some peeps.
Totally. So, really quick, we have 2 more minutes for it to leave this air. I think Austin's ready to air out this room after those heavy topics.
Mhm.
He's kind of an animated movie kind of guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Disney or fuck off.
Okay, well, I'm not. So, I just want to give you a little shout out and to all the wonderful work you've done in our drag room.
Oh. Speaking of that, we took this weekend to just like have a staycation, and we've actually never done that before. So this whole weekend, we took Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and instead of going somewhere like we always do, we stayed home and we just worked on our house. We cleaned so much, cleaned our living room. We like really went through all those things that like were kind of there, but not really taken care of. We Marie Kondo'd the hell out of our house.
Marie Kondo,
Yeah.
eat your heart out. You'd be so proud.
So our bar is not a catch-all at this moment.
I went over, I don't know, 4,000 receipts I went through.
4,000.
I'm not kidding.
It was a
You
lot
saw
of
that
receipts,
pile.
for sure.
I went through like 4,000 receipts. What was Catwalk, what was mine, what needed to be saved, what needed to go to the garbage. I went through every freaking receipt. And then I got rid of 3 bags. Like, I'm talking heaping bags of clothing, garbage bags. I'm going to have a garage sale, so watch out for
Coming
that.
up, all you people.
Yeah, you got to go through your clothes.
I definitely have to go through my clothing.
Awesome.
But we did that. We cleaned off like all these like surfaces in our house that kind of turn into like catch-alls. I'm sure you all have one. It's like a junk drawer or like one like kind of hidden countertop in a hallway or something.
Ours weren't hidden. We had 3 of them, and they were disgusting. They're
Yeah,
all gone.
So all gone. And then we got a lot of your toys organized. We went into the middle floor. You and Spencer did a fantastic job, and I'm actually so happy.
What do you think we got rid of? At least, I'm being serious. 150 cardboard boxes.
Probably 100 at least. It was a
Like-
lot.
At least 100 cardboard boxes of stuff put away, broken down, put away, and Austin's still organizing our makeup and
I've
nails.
spent 3 days organizing, rearranging, vacuuming everything. Our drag room, hanging up so much clothes. I cannot believe how many articles of clothing those bitches Salem and Chrissy have. I'm like so ready for the drag swap this year. I'm gonna get rid of some stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm still organizing some jewelry. Almost done.
Tonight we will be done. So anyway,
Then we'll hang up some pictures.
this weekend was worth it.
Totally inspiring. I think we have like a good grip on our house for like the first time. You ever feel like the walls are just like closing in on you, but really
No,
just
I
being
don't.
dramatic?
No, I don't. I want to say I love you. Sorry that conversation stressed you out. Hope you all enjoyed our show. If you asked for it this Monday night, April 22nd, nothing bad happened this day.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and watching me be completely dramatic.
Bye. Have a great
everyone.
night. Good week. Mwah.